Everybody, it's Zach. Welcome back to the Heroverse. And guys, I just got done with Superman&Lois Season 2, Episode 15, called Waiting for Superman. Guys, this was the season finale of Season 2 of Superman&Lois. And all I have to really say is that it was a pretty damn good finale that we got, where it makes me, of course, want to come back for Season 3. I was already going to come back for Season 3. Who am I kidding? The first two seasons of Superman&Lois have been fucking badass. Regardless, even if they didn't stick the landing for this finale, I would have still came back. Because it's like, the show has done something that the CW has been lacking for a very, very long time. Since, like, the earlier seasons of Arrow and since the earlier seasons of The Flash. And I'm just so glad that this show has been doing so good. And hell, sometimes I think to myself, the show like surpasses the earlier seasons of Arrow and The Flash for how good the writing is now, and how fun the show is and how accurate it is to us Superman fans. But guys, literally at the start of this episode, we see Chrissy of Our Earth giving out her kind of like her broadcast of telling everybody, what's going on with, how Allie's become super strong, how Superman, it can no longer help us, and everybody needs to stay home, maybe with their loved ones, and, she's trying to call Lois. Lois isn't answering because Lois, of course, is with Clark and the boys, all at the house pretty much right now, and also with Natalie. I think also Sam is there, if I'm correct. I think I can't remember if he's there or not. I think he is, or he's not there, if I'm correct. I'm not quite sure. But at this point right now, they're there right now, trying to figure out the way, to help Natalie and figuring out, okay, where's John, and pretty much trying to, tell Natalie that John's probably okay, he's not dead, just have some hope. And Natalie's frustrated, she's like, I can't get a hold of my dad, you know what I mean, like, I don't know if I could do this again, where I didn't get to say goodbye to my mother, and I'm probably not going to be able to say goodbye to my dad. I just can't do that again. I'm going to keep trying to look for him. And as of right now, Clark is still trying to figure out the way, okay, what can I do really to help out? And, that's pretty much what goes on in this episode. With all of our theories about, okay, John, where's Tal-Rho? Like, we didn't see him in last week's episode when, Clark went to the fortress with John Henry. So we're like, okay, where's Tal-Rho? Where'd he go? We end up finding out when Tal ends up popping up in this episode that he kind of, like, was somewhere else, and he kind of got blipped back on Earth. He said he went somewhere, and I wasn't really quite sure I wasn't even quite sure if that was our Tal-Rho when he popped up in his suit. I was like, okay, is this our Tal, or is that inverse Tal? Because we saw a lot of blipping going on, which I'm going to use the term blipping from the Marvel term of blipping, of course, like in Avengers Endgame and, Infinity War and Endgame, where, people blipped back. I'm going to use that term because that's essentially what happened in this episode, is people blipped from our Earth to the inverse universe, and then people from the inverse universe came to our Earth. And, that was happening a lot. And, for a second, when I saw the suit of Tal-Rho, I was like, okay, is this somehow, like, maybe that Tal, like, didn't die? Even though we saw him die in the inverse universe, and he's just here, and we still don't know where our Tal is. But it turns out Tal, like, I think left Earth, went somewhere else, and then he kind of got put back on Earth that's what I assume, or he went somewhere else across the globe, and then, he just went back to Smallville. But that was very interesting, and I was kind of hoping he would just came back on his own to help out, but that's essentially not what happened. But, his idea is that, he tells Clark, is like, oh, like, I'm going to go up there and stop her, like, I know you can't do it, and then Clark's like, no, I couldn't stop her, you're not going to be able to stop her, she drained all my energy, and she'll do the same to you, and he's like, I have to try, and he's like, I find it funny, you last year, you want to destroy our Earth, and right now, you're trying to save our Earth, and he's like, I don't care about anybody else, I care about your family. And, he's like, he hugs, I think, Clark, puts his hand on his shoulders and says, like, pretty much, okay, pretty much, be careful and stuff. That was his way of saying, be careful, do you. And the moment, he was way over his head, Tal-Rho, because at the moment he got up there and he lasered Allie literally started sucking his energy. Like, he started losing his powers. I'm like, dude, you were way over your head. I don't know why you thought that was going to work. And the moment where, like, Jordan has to go up to save him was badass. I really wish we could have got a fight going on up there, but he, like, pushed her, and she was doing the Sandra Bullock up in space. She was doing some gravity shit, and she was just, hurling her way in space in the fetal position. And at that moment, that's when, Jordan had to save Tal-Rho from falling to the ground, which was badass. Jordan has improved his strength so much, and improved his powers have just enhanced since the first time he got him in season 1. Like, his powers are growing exponentially fast, and I'm loving it. I'm loving what they're doing with his character, Jordan's character, in the first 2 seasons of the show. I'm super excited to see where his headspace is going to be at and see where his powers are next season. I feel like they're going to enhance to the point where, like, he is going to, like, he will master his powers at that point. Even though I feel like right now, already, by the end of the season, he's mastered his powers. Because when he goes to save Tao, he is moving. He is literally breaking the sound barrier. He is moving. He catches Tao and he sticks the landing, which was badass. He has learned so quickly how to use his abilities, but not too quickly to the point where like, oh my god, this just feels not wrong. It took Clark a while to really learn how to use his abilities. It was like, but it was at the same speed where it's like, I believe it, but it's quickly, and they're not like struggling, you know what I mean, to really get him moving with his abilities. I love the pacing that they did with that character to show us the growth of his powers. And at that point right now, they come up with the idea of like, okay, like I haven't, because Tao's like, oh, there might be a way to get your powers back or whatever, you know what I mean? And it might be to, throw you into the sun. And then that's when, Clark's like, yeah, I think that's what, our mother was trying to tell us when I was in the fortress, but she kept cutting out, so I didn't really understand what she was saying, but I'm pretty sure that that's what she meant. There's a way to get my powers back, which my theory was, or wasn't even really much of a theory, is I said in the last video, why can't Clark just ask Tao to fly him up, or like, to space, to the sun, and have him just, he just regenerates from the power of the sun, because that's how he gets his abilities as Earth's sun. And that's essentially what happens. He gets thrown into the sun, which that was what I said last episode. So I was like, so it kind of annoys me that it was such an easy solution, but it took them a minute to find out that solution, where it's like, just go close to the sun and you will, your cells will regenerate. And that's just, but it was so badass. It seems so simple, but the moment where like he does, Tao ends up like throwing him in the sun and he powers up was the coolest moment, I think, of this season, if not maybe like because I don't know. I mean, that was I feel like it was almost the coolest moment of the season, but I feel like Jordan's moments of him fighting, his fight sequences, were probably the highlight of this season. Like those were some of the best choreography fight sequences of any CW superhero show. And I don't know. Like probably like I wouldn't say like over Stargirl, because they're neck and neck, like what the fight choreography they do on Stargirl. But out of Arrowverse and all the other shows, I would say that's probably some of the best fight choreography we've seen in a very long time. And excusing the fact of how Stargirl has some of the best fight sequences as well. I do think Stargirl and Superman and Lois are on the same par of how good the quality is of storytelling, how good the cast is, and in portraying their characters, and also the quality of CGI and the quality of fight choreography. It's on the same level. But like I would say the highlight of this season is definitely the best parts of the season have been the Jordan fight sequences. But it was really badass. Like it was a really cool moment in the finale to see Clark when he finally gets thrown into the sun, and he's in the sun right now, and the detail of work that they do to really see the sun flowing through him, and it's crackling through his skin, and he's healing up, and he absorbs the sun, and to see the sun all throughout the star and all throughout the S in his chest was badass. Seeing it just flow through him, and you're seeing it all over his suit and stuff. That was really sick. And the fact that the one fight sequence that I really loved, it was like a really quick fight sequence. Like it just showed how powerful he got, him being in the sun. The Allie just she couldn't stand up against him. The moment where like John ends up, he really like he connects to Natalie saying, I need you to bring the escape pod, and I need you, to come in here. Not only the fact that it wasn't to save him, but Natalie thought, oh, he wants me to bring the escape pod so he can find his way back to Earth. But no, he wants the escape pod because he has no energy left, and he thought Natalie would put XK in it so he could close the portals to stop Allie from merging the worlds, but they would find no way back to Earth at that point. So the point when Natalie does get there, and she didn't hear anything about X-Kryptonite. She didn't know that her father wanted to use the escape pod as a bomb to pretty much stop Allie, to stop the merging of both of the Earths. It was that like she's like, oh my god, if we do this, I would lose a family that I just gained. And that was a really sad moment where I was like, oh my god, are they really gonna like not find a way to get back to Earth? And pretty much Natalie lost another family that she just like gained. I was really sad because the moment like when she did decide to leave to go help John and told Jordan that he has to stay back, when Jordan's like, I'll go with you, and she's like, no, you have to stay here. My father stepped up so many times for you guys. I need to be the one to do this on my own, and you need to be here with your family. And I love when Jordan and Jonathan were like, well, you are our family now. And she's like, it was really nice. She hugs them and says, it was really nice having brothers for a while. I was like, oh my god, please tell me she's going to be coming back. But the moment where like right now she put all of her resisting energy in her suit into the escape pod to make the bomb to take out to stop the worlds from merging. they are just sitting ducks. They have barely any energy left in their suit. They're just sitting there, and, right now, that disrupted Allie from, trying to merge the Earth. So right now, Clark already is at the point where he got his powers back, and he's trying to fly because he tried to stop Allie at this point because he doesn't know in what state Natalie and John are in right now to the point of them stopping, Allie. But of course, in a way, they did stop her by her disrupting her to stop the worlds from merging. But it wasn't the point where it was just going to be like, oh, we fixed the solution. It stopped because, she could have just kept back going after she was done killing them, just kept back going to merge them. But I just love the moment where, right now, Allie is like, you disrupted me for the last time, ends up flying towards Nat and ends up flying towards John. And then we see, Clark swoop in, grab Allie. And there was a really cool fight sequence at the moment where, they're flying towards each other. And right now, and Natalie and we have John on the ground right now, and pretty much Clark's flying over all the Earths and flying over Earth, and trying to and that's when we have Lana seeing how Superman's back, Clark has his powers back. It was the moment where everybody, all the members of the cast get to see that Superman is back now. So Lana saw oh my god, he has his powers back. We had Lois see that, oh my god, he has his powers back because he's flying over all across the inverse universe as well because they're so close together. So he's flying over Smallville in the inverse universe. And Lois sees that Clark is back having his powers and Superman is back. It was a big Superman's back moment. But I love the moment where they're flying towards each other, Allie and Clark. And right at this moment, they smack into each other, and he grabs Allie and literally says, "Okay, take more of my power." And it becomes so much for her to handle that he smacks the inverse Allie out of her, and pretty much makes it to the point where she doesn't have abilities anymore at that point because he smacked the other inverse Allie out, and that's essentially when they merged. That's what gave her abilities. But since they're not merged anymore, they don't have that power anymore. But I love the moment where he literally set them both down right to Natalie and John on the ground, said hold them, don't let them merge again, and pretty much ends up just flying around the Earth and around both of the Earths, and then he ends up getting on Earth and slamming down, and ends up pretty much just dispersing enough energy where they unmerge, which I thought was badass. And what made me think at that moment, the other inverse universe must have got sent back in between the spaces of reality. I'm pretty sure that in between of space, the two spaces apart, because you have to fly through to the inverse portal to get to that in between realm to get to the other, to get to the inverse universe. I'm pretty sure it's back in its own orbit, the inverse universe, after he slammed down and split the worlds apart. So, and sent the world back to its, the inverse universe back to its orbit. So, I'm really curious to know, will we see the inverse universe again? I don't know. Or is that a chapter of the story done where we'll never see the inverse universe again? Because I feel is there a way that I feel is this the end of the inverse universe, or will we see it again in the future? I don't know. I feel the story is done because Allie is they're no longer merged, the two Allies, which makes me wonder if that yellow sun that's keeping them trapped, if that's off, does that mean that they can merge again? Since the the necklace is, the necklace disappeared because they merged. So do they have the capability, if they are no longer in that thing, can they merge again? Or does it, what I mean? That's the questions I'm wondering. Will we see out the two Allies again, and will they merge if they get out? And why is the yellow sun stopping them from merging? You know what I mean? It's I understand that, inverse Allie, had the red sun there, but it wasn't really affecting her when she came to our Earth. So that's why I'm kind of wondering, why was it yellow sun that was keeping them in this container? Unless that was just the lighting, and it's just normal, metahuman dampening, cages that they're in. I'm not quite sure, but I'm really curious to know what that's all about, and really how the yellow is affecting them. I'm not quite sure. Unless it's the fact that, she did have Clark's powers at the time, but even then it's the yellow sun, so wouldn't it, you know what I mean? It's I'm a little confused there. But I'm really excited to see and where we're going in the future of the show, because at the end of this episode we have Diggle popping up, which I saw photos that he was going to be in this episode, which kind of annoys me that people that gets out. I feel that should have been a surprise for us to see. I feel so much gets out sometimes on the CW when guest stars are about to come on a show. It just gets out, and I saw it and I was okay, why is he there? And someone did tell me down in the comments below that he's going to be setting up the new villain, a possible villain for the new season. I don't know if that dude that he mentioned that killed the John Henry of our Earth, because we see Diggle going into the other world's John Henry, that is now on our Earth, pretty much saying like, oh, I'm here to tell you about this person because this dude killed our John Henry, and I want to know why. And it's like, okay, is that enough really that is going to be our villain? I don't know if the name is a different name for Brainiac. I don't know. I don't really know what they're doing with next season. I'm assuming it'd be cool if we went into Brainiac. I'm not quite sure if that's what we're going to do or not. But I don't know. I knowing them not saying the name Brainiac though, and them saying somebody else that that didn't seem like enough threat level where they said like, oh, he's in different he's doing different hands of crime, like he's in in the drug business or he's in whatever, he's doing this and that. I'm like, okay, like, but there's nothing here where it makes me like oh my god, like that's the villain in the next season, unless that is the person he becomes that. I'm not quite sure, but that's why I'm kind of like, okay, like I'm not that interested in the fact of, okay, like what Diggle's setting up with John Henry there. I don't know if that's going to be a side thing where like the main thing is happening in Superman and Lois. I don't know. But I'm very interested also in the fact of, Clark getting a crystal, which I'm like, I thought all of his crystals were destroyed when Tal-Rho destroyed his main crystal in the fortress. So that's why I was kind of confused where he said like, you want to like, he's like, like when Clark goes out in the middle of nowhere, I'm like, oh, is he going to the fortress? But he's creating a new fortress, and then he has the crystal, and he's like, Jordan's like, are you making a new fortress? And he's like, yeah, for all of us. So we have we have our own time, we have our own solitude if we need it. And he's like, oh, I guess this is only good for people that can fly. And he's like, well, my mom, might have some good toys that you can use, which makes me wonder, okay, will Jonathan have some sort of a capability of flying or having some sort of powers through, the knowledge of his mother, of, Cal's mother. So that makes me want to know, like, is that kind of like a hint that Jonathan will have some sort of capabilities in next season, or of powers of some sort, or some capability of flying? I'm not quite sure. But also, and he said that, this is just the beginning, which makes me wonder what are they going to be doing with that fortress. I'm really curious to know, and I'm also, again, curious to know how he was able to get another crystal, because I thought if he could have done that, why didn't he, that had his, mother's thing in it, why couldn't he have just done that sooner? Why did he wait so long to make a new fortress so he was able to talk to his mother and have some AI at the fortress? Because as we know, Tal destroyed his father's crystal at the fortress, and the fortress is obsolete because it has no knowledge about Krypton or anything about the galaxy. So it makes me wonder, okay, like if you had access to crystals, why didn't you just plant them before? So I feel like that was kind of like a really situation, like really you couldn't have done that earlier because it would have helped a lot earlier, a lot sooner. I just was like, okay. But I was really interested to see where that's going to go, that now that the family has a fortress. And also, I'm really excited that now Chrissy now knows that Clark is Superman. That was one of the things I said in my last review, saying I hope Lois tells Chrissy, or finds out that Lois's husband, Clark, is Superman. Either Chrissy finds that out or Lois tells Chrissy, because I feel like if Wanda knows, I feel like Chrissy has the same right to know that Clark is Superman. I was like, I feel like Chrissy should know. I feel like she should know more than Wanda knowing that, Clark is Superman. Even though I know in the lore of, of Superman, Lana is the first one to know before Lois and stuff. But I was like, I don't know. I just really felt like Lana really didn't need to know until like it made sense where, whatever. But I feel like it was more meaningful the moment where like Lois tells Chrissy that, oh, Clark is Superman. And she's like, oh, you're serious? And she's like, oh, do I need to like say an oath or whatever? I thought that was so cute. And so like, just heartwarming to hear. I don't know what it was. I just felt very emotional in that moment. More emotional than I felt when Clark told Lana that he was Superman. I don't know what it was. I just felt like it was more meaningful the moment that Lois told Chrissy that, Clark is Superman. I felt like it was also that it was like something that, was earned. I feel like, it was like we were really building up to that moment. I feel like, we've been with Chrissy's character for such a long minute now that I feel like, and we just like her character a lot now. That, and also she's like, I feel like that's why it was so meaningful, and like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is. I just felt like it was more meaningful than the moment when Clark told Lana that he was Superman. And that's crazy even that I felt that way, but I did. I felt so much emotion. And it was just so cute when she's like, oh, do I have to say an oath? I just thought that was so cute. And so just like, like, she's such a good person, Chrissy. I just love that character. But yeah, honestly, guys, I'm also like, also seeing Sarah and Jordan pretty much, getting back together, and Sarah apologizes for what happened with her friend at camp, which I was so happy when Sarah apologized for that, because that's been annoying me since like that moment happened, and she's been treating Jordan like crap. I've had real problems with the character Sarah, and I'm just so glad that she said sorry. Because I'm so glad that the writers did that, because she did have to say sorry. She was really saying it like not acknowledging the fact that really hurt Jordan, and pretty much and putting Jordan in weird positions where like her friend had to be involved, and it had to be Sarah's way or the highway, on the fact that when Sarah said, "Oh, I want my friend to be my friend to be in my life after I just cheated on you with my friends." And regardless, it's either you like it or you don't. And if you don't like it, then I can't have you a part of my life, because I want her a part of my life as well. I just felt like that was kind of like, I'm not messing with you right now, Sarah. So I'm really glad she said sorry. I'm glad, I'm kind of glad that they are together now. But I'm at the point of like, I'm on the fence still about it, because I feel like that went on for so long, where I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want them together. I don't know if he really needs to be with her. I don't know if she really needs to be with him. I don't know how I really feel about it still, but I am happy that, they're no longer on, they're no longer, not talking to each other, and they're no longer, like not being friends. Even if they were just going to be friends again, it would have been cool. But the fact that they are together, we'll see where that goes. I just feel like, I don't know. I'm just so glad that Sarah apologized, though, because I feel like that was long overdue. I'm just so happy it happened finally. I didn't want them dragging that out into the next season. I'm happy it just happened. And, they kind of started from the beginning now. They wanted to start over. So that way they just communicate now, which they can now, because he's no longer keeping secrets. So they can communicate clearly now, and there shouldn't be any problem. Fingers crossed for next season. But yeah, honestly though, other than that, with John and Nat not having to not be able to go back to the Earth that they made a new family, they're there now. They don't, they don't have to worry about not being able to be in Smallville anymore. They're there. They got back there in time before the inverse universe went back to its own universe. So it's like, I'm happy that I'm just excited to see more of John and Nat next season, and how they build their life there and really settle into Smallville, because we just saw the beginning of them settling into Smallville, and her making a new family, or them having a second family, her and John. So it's kind of like, I'm excited to see like what they'll do. Like, will they actually really like make their home very homey? I'm excited to see what they really do with their home, or maybe how they'll get actual like place. I'm not quite sure, because they kind of just stayed in Clark's friend's place in the meantime to set, like, just as a place to stay. But I wonder if they'll actually get their own place, and we'll actually see what they do with their own place, or really get to see them settle into Smallville. But I'm just so glad that they're not going to be on the show anymore, on the fact of them using the residual energy to blow up to stop the worlds from colliding, and them not being able to get back to Earth. So I'm glad about that. I'm happy that they are still in Smallville. I'm just not quite sure how I feel about Diggle showing up and him trying to send John to do some mission that I feel like it wasn't enough there for me to care about. Maybe I will when we see trailers and stuff. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I'm just excited to see where we're going to be going next season. That's the most important thing. I'm excited to see where we're going to go next season, who the villain will be next season. If you guys have an idea of who the villain's going to be next season, people have been saying it's going to be Brainiac and stuff. I'm not quite sure if it will or not, but it would be cool if it was. I'm just excited to see where we're going to go from here. And the main thing I'm really excited to see next season is where Jordan is going to go. I want him to get a suit next season. That was my other theory I have going. I hope he gets a suit. If not at some point next season, maybe at the finale of next season. I'm not quite sure. I just want him to get a suit. I want him to start doing things. I don't want him having just on the fact of, I don't want him to like how he's been stepping up so much. I don't want him to now backtrack and focus too much on the relationship with Sarah. I don't want that. I want him to keep going and him realize and keep that same, mentality of that I need to step up. I have abilities and I need to step up. We know what happens when if I wouldn't have stepped up. And I've grown so much. I don't want him to be like, okay, I want to just be with my girlfriend. I don't want to do anything. I want him to actually do shit. I hope he sticks with that mentality and we see that character grow to the point where he does get his costume. Because I feel like it definitely could be next year. I feel like at this point, I don't not see him wanting to save people, because that's what he was doing at the beginning of this season. when he was really trying to like learn how to use his abilities very well, even though he had to handle some of his abilities when he was like learning new abilities like flying and learn how to really use his cool breath very well and stuff like that. So it's like, I hope to see him like really save people next year, and that make that make that very normal. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? That's just normal for him to do that now, because we already saw the beginning of that in this season when he needed to step up when Clark didn't have his abilities, or when Clark was missing and he was in the inverse universe. So I really hope he keeps that mentality of wanting to help people and doesn't want to just hang out with Sarah and be a kid. I want him to just keep the mentality of like, okay, I need to, just in case something happens to my dad again, I'm the one that needs to take over. So, you know what I mean? I'm the next Earth's defender. You know what I mean? So it's like, I hope he keeps that drive, and we really see like cool. I also hope we really keep it up with the choreography, and we really get to see more cool episodes with Jordan kicking ass, because I just loved what they did with this character this season. I loved it. I'm really curious to know down in the comments below, where do you guys think season 3 will go? And also, let me know, guys, were some of your theories correct about this episode? Again, you know, some people, some people in the comments below said that Tao was the only solution to get Clark to get his abilities back, and I said the same thing too, and that's exactly what happened. And me saying, oh, why didn't he just go up? Why doesn't he just go up there, have Tao fly up there, and then him, have the sun regenerate the cells? And that's exactly what happened. It was such an easy solution. But I'm just shocked they didn't come up with it sooner, because it's such a thing that Superman would think of, like, oh, I just get close to the sun and that will regenerate my cells if I get close enough. But you know, it is what it is. It was an overall, like, it made up for it in the cool moment when like we see him in the sun and we see all the sun particles all throughout his body and just around the S of the emblem. It was fucking fire. But yeah, guys, I'm going to know what your theories are for next season. I want to know where you guys want to see characters go for next season. I want to know also who do you guys think the villain will be next season. So let me know overall where you guys think season 3 is going to go. And also let me know overall what you guys thought about the finale of Superman and Lois of season 2. And also let me know what was your favorite episode and what was your favorite scene of season 2. And also let me know what your overall thoughts are of season 2 of Superman and Lois. And you guys think that they ended it on a very good note. I don't think this beats last year's finale, but this was a really good finale. And I feel like the reason I'm not like upset that, oh god, it wasn't the best, is because we had that cool moment again with, when Clark was in the sun and doing all that stuff. But it's also the fact that this finale, on the fact that it wasn't like spectacular, it made up for it on the fact of, like, we had all this cool shit this season with Jordan. And I'm like, okay with it. I'm like, okay. It was a good finale. It wasn't like, oh, this is like phenomenal finale, but it was a good finale. But yeah, guys, again, guys, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, put in notifications, like this video. I'd love to have you guys here, part of the fam, part of the channel. We're all about spreading love, positivity, and motivation. Guys, yet again, we're almost to 600 subscribers. Right now, we're at 5. I want to say 525, if I'm correct. I think that's what we're at, or 535. I think that's what it is. We're almost to 600. We're making moves. We're making strides. My goal is to get to 600 before the end of June. That was my goal, to get to 600 subscribers before the end of June. But that is still my goal. I think we can do it, again, with your love and your support. And also, my initial goal is to get to 1,000 before the end of this year. And I know we could do that again, guys. But yeah, again, if you guys are new here to the channel and you guys do find my Superman and Lois season 2 finale spoiler review, again, subscribe to the channel, because I am coming back next year for season 3 of Superman and Lois. And I'm going to be sticking with the show as long as it's good. And I think it's going to stay good, because I have hope. And I have a special feeling about Stargirl and Superman and Lois, that they don't let me down. Speaking of Stargirl, before I end this video, we saw a little TV spot / I wouldn't say it was just like a TV spot, getting us ready for season 3 of Stargirl, which looks phenomenal. I cannot wait. When I mean Superman and Lois and Stargirl are the best shows on the CW, besides, of course, of superhero shows, besides, of course, All American and All American Homecoming. This season looks spectacular, and I'm excited. I cannot wait. Like, I'm super excited, and I heard on Instagram that we're going to be getting our first trailer, I think this week at some point. I'm not quite sure when, but I will be doing a reaction when that first teaser trailer or trailer drops, regardless of what it is, I will be reacting to whatever trailer we're going to be getting of Stargirl when it drops, of season 3 of Stargirl. So look out for that if you guys do like Stargirl, because I will be doing a trailer reaction to whatever it is, whether it be teaser, actual trailer, or even a TV spot. I will react to it because I love that show so much. I'm a big supporter of that show, along with Superman and Lois. I think they are the 2 best superhero shows probably ever on the CW. You know what I mean? And, you know, I would say, you know what I mean, if Flash was still good, I don't know. But even, like, you know what's crazy is that, you know, because once I was a really big fan of Arrow until it passed Ra's al Ghul season. And then again, Flash came, and until after the Savitar season, it started getting really bad. But, you know what I mean? It's crazy to think those shows have been on longer, and those were at the start of those shows, but yet Superman and Lois and Stargirl have the best fight choreography even out of Arrow. And Arrow had some really great fight choreography, and earlier season of Flash had some pretty damn good fight choreography when the episodes were good of the seasons, and when the seasons were good. But it's like these 2 shows outbeat the choreography that we've had for Superman and Lois and Stargirl. Like, I've never seen better choreography on a CW superhero show than these 2 shows. And I want to know what your thoughts on that down in the comments below, because I mean, the fight choreography, especially in Stargirl, that's all hand-to-hand combat. And I mean, we really see some cool stuff in the flying hand-to-hand combat in Superman and Lois. Supposedly in this season, we had some pretty good hand-to-hand combat when things were going down on the ground with Jordan this season. But I mean, the hand-to-hand combat in Stargirl, oh my god! Again, whoever the fight choreographers are for these 2 shows, round of applause for you guys, because you get that just builds a show up when you have some really great fight choreography. It like puts the cherry on top of like good CGI, good characters, good storytelling, and good fight choreography is the cherry on top, literally. And they have been killing it with these 2 shows, and I hope it keeps going. They have a really good formula right now. I hope they stick to it. But yeah, guys, that was again my spoiler review my finale spoiler review for Superman and Lois season 2. Guys, that was the video. I hope everybody has a great day, a safe day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.